Hello and welcome to the Strength Theory and Crime 30 marker explanation. So this is an essay that I would write if I got this question in an exam. Firstly, let's look at the item. Strength theories focus on the ways in which people may resort to crime or deviance when they are unable to achieve socially approved goals by legitimate means. For example, Merton argues that American culture emphasizes achieving success, but an unequal structure limits some individuals' opportunity to do so legitimately. This may induce frustration in the individuals concerned. Some strength theorists see the response to the situation as a group reaction, in which individuals create or join deviant subcultures. So the 30 marker question here would be, applying material from item B in your knowledge, evaluate the contribution of strength theories to our understanding of crime and deviance. So to unpack this question, I would look at the keyword of strength theories in the question, and I already see 3 item phrases that I would use. So first of all, I would use Merton argues that American culture. So that's one of the items I would use. The second one would be frustration, and the third would be join deviant subcultures. So as I said before, first point would be Merton's original strength theory. Second would be Cohen's status frustration. Cloward and Olin did delinquent subcultures. And to bring in my own knowledge, I would do Miller's focal concerns of the working class. So for every single body paragraph, we're going to want to do a PEELE structure, which is point, evidence, evaluate, link, and evaluate. So by using that, you're ensuring that you're getting maximum marks for every single paragraph. So for point 1, we're jumping straight into the body paragraph, by the way, because I'll do the intro and outro last, because that's not very difficult. But for point 1, I would say that the working class commit crime to achieve the American dream, which is the item, due to inequality of access to legitimate structures or to a career or whatever you want to write. So Merton and his strength theory have a few types of these people: conformists, innovatives, ritualists, retreatists, and rebels. And these people differ based on their goals and means to achieve. For example, conformists, they have legitimate goals set by society, and they do it in a legitimate means. However, innovative people, they have the same shared goals, but they may find alternative ways to achieve it, which may be illicit. So he basically says that crime arises from societal structure. However, this point does not explain non-utilitarian crimes like vandalism. You could use that as an extra AO3 point. Remember to bring in the item of American dream or American culture. So there's this societal structure. It's still a functionalist way of explaining crime and deviance, but it's the strain, this relationship between not being able to achieve a goal by its legitimate means that causes criminality. That's what he says. So in AO3 would be, Marxists argue that these goals are bourgeoisie ideology, and these are in the interests of capitalism, as the assumed goal is money for consumption and consumerism. This is not a value consensus, as functionalists might say, but a capitalist ideology, and it's made to be this common sense hegemony, but at the expense of the proletariat, as they become criminal or seek alternative ways. So my second point would be that working class boys lack values to achieve in school. These values may not be bad values per se, these might just be different values, and the response is to reverse mainstream values and form these deviant subcultures. This would be the second point, which we could say that if we look here, we could say it's deviant subcultures. So this explains So working class boys lack values to achieve in school. These values may not necessarily be bad values, they're just working class values, and so they have the status frustration that they're unable to fit in with the middle class ideologies in school. So their response is to reverse mainstream values and form deviant subcultures. For example, these would be non-utilitarian crimes, which is turning socially deviant acts into praiseworthy ones to achieve status within their own little groups. So this would be, for example, like doing vandalism, talking back to teachers, stuff like that. So an AFC for this could be Ling and Katz, which is related to gender and crime. And they say that the individual might just be bored, they're looking for edge work. For example, in property damage, they might not be doing it for praise. They're not consciously thinking, oh, this is the reverse of mainstream values of not doing property damage. So this might just be just to feel thrill, adrenaline, things like that. Point 3 would be Cloward and Olin. If these working class people are unable to reach legitimate opportunity structures due to class inequalities, for example, they're unable to go on to higher education, then they could try going for illegitimate opportunity structure. This is alternate, for example. Do they have access to a gang membership? However, it must be noted that not all of them can easily access opportunity structures. Some people, like in legitimate opportunity structures, may access illegal gangs easier, like living nearby premises that have a lot of these activities going on. So Cloward and Olin coined 3 deviant subcultures. That would be criminal, which is mostly organized crime with the mafia. They do crimes for material gain. Conflict, which is new young crimes, new young gangs. Violence, gang violence obviously. Turf wars. And retreatist, which is where they can't access either of these, so they choose to abuse drugs. An AO3 for this would be that Cloward and Olin were mostly describing working class males, and as functionalists, they do not question why in a meritocratic society, working class are still denied legitimate opportunities, and they also do not address why working class girls don't react the same way as boys might be. Like, they're less likely to join a violent gang, help out with the mafia. So the last point I would do is from my own knowledge, so there's no item link. This would be the focal concerns with Miller. Focal concerns are basically these different values that working class might have in a middle class dominant world, so this causes crime and deviance. These values are not bad, just might put the working class into a more likely position to engage in deviant behavior, because this is just what they're socialized into. That's what Miller says. So some of these focal concerns include excitement, toughness, smartness, which is wit, trouble, autonomy, and being fatalistic. This does not necessarily mean that working class people socialized into these values are inevitably going into criminality, but it just makes them more likely. This explains non-utilitarian crimes, as, for example, they might not consider consequences when doing vandalism just for excitement. They want to have autonomy, so they don't ask for help when they need it. An AFA point evaluation for this would be that Miller does not consider gender. Feminists point out that these just might be masculine values, not class values, because it does not explain why some working class people socialized in a working class community don't act on these. There is free will, and it might be linked more to masculinity. So for intro and outro, I usually just do the same thing for every single 30 marker. I don't think it's that important if you've got the structure down. For the intro, I usually just repeat the question, so I would include the words string theory, contributions to string theory into the intro. You want to signpost some of the sociologist views, for example, drop Merton, drop Cloward and Olin in the intro, say Merton did suggest something, these functionalists have different views. So for the outro, you want to summarize all your points. You don't want to drop any new points, that's important. You could evaluate the contributions, and quote the item if you can to show that, yes, this overall there is a relevance. And what I would do is, you could say overall, realistically, it's not going to be one of these specific functionalist views, not one of them is correct completely. It's most likely to be interactions between different factors. Feminists and Marxists could also say that there's other, extrapolation factors that would cause crime and deviance with string theories. So the link to the full crime and deviance notes will be down, and thanks for listening. Good luck.